Hey there, I'm Steve, and welcome to Jamsin Entertainment, and welcome to the conversation. Tonight, I am joined by Chris. He is CM3 TV on Twitch, does a lot of streaming. Lately, he's been doing Call of Duty. Before that, he's done some Resident Evil. Chris, how's it going?
I'm good, thanks for having me.
So, I think we briefly talked about what we would talk about this podcast. How did you get your start into video games? What do you remember what the first one was, or what was your first love?
Yeah, I definitely remember. I actually was thinking about this all day, and it was like, when I knew we were going to talk about this, I immediately was like, all right, so he's probably going to ask me how I got into video games, and I remember it very vividly. When I was younger, one of my older cousins wasn't like the biggest video game guy, but he got the old school big gray brick Game Boy, like the old school, the big fat one. Yeah. And he started getting more into academics and away from video games. And my aunt bought him that with like a carrying case and Mario and like the original Tetris.
Yeah, the whole package.
Exactly. And it had the little light you could attach to the top. And he kind of slowly fell out of video games, so he decided he would give it to me. And that's where I really first fell in love with video games, especially because I could take them anywhere with me. All I needed was the batteries, and I could run games pretty much for as long as I wanted. And when we were a family when we were younger, we'd go on a lot of road trips. So having that with me, I would have video games at my disposal literally 24/7.
Oh, nice.
And like when I was supposed to go to bed, I'd be under the covers with a little light on top of it playing the game so nobody could see. The lights looked like they were off. And it was really cool because from that it kind of evolved into me getting the PlayStation. And I remember me and my sister used to play Crash Bandicoot all the time. We'd take turns. Whenever one person would die, the next person would hop in. And my parents bought us a race car game where we had the steering wheel, and it was super cool. But I really think the Game Boy and the PlayStation were the first two things that got me into gaming, along with like the original Pokemon game. That's probably that's the one thing I credit to being like the first game. Pokemon Red was probably the first game that I ever was like, oh my god, this is it. This is what I want to do, and I continued and I played that game over and over and over again, and it was awesome.
Nice. I actually got started a little late in the video games. My parents never bought us any consoles. The closest that they ever bought me were the Tiger handhelds. You remember those?
Yes.
So I had Home Alone, I think it was Home Alone 2 or Home Alone and Batman Returns and like one or two other ones. Those are the ones that really stick out to me. But I got started with PC gaming.
Okay.
And it was shortly after the re-release of Star Wars. My friend Chris had a demo disc of Dark Forces, one of the games I'm streaming on Twitch, and I fucking fell in love. You can hear me gush over Kyle Katarn in the last podcast with Austin and Kurt, and I just used my birthday money to build computers. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And then
that's so cool.
I realized as a young 15-year-old that my parents would never buy me consoles. So I went to them one night. I was like, I want a job because I know you're not going to buy me video games. I just want a job. And so I actually bought the PlayStation 2 as my first console. And I'm pretty sure the first game I got for it was FF10.
Solid game.
Yeah.
Solid game.
It's not my favorite Final Fantasy out there, but I do like it.
Agreed. My favorite's probably 7, but 10 was a good one. That was one of the ones that kind of got me back into the series.
Yeah, 7, I was introduced through Final Fantasy through 7, and I started on the PC because, again, my friend Chris had a copy, and back in those days, you could just burn one, and that's what I did. I think I still have the burn copy somewhere.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
I was able to mod it. So I was able to put like cheat codes and shit in there.
Nice.
There was one mod. I mentioned this on the podcast with Mike when we did FF7 remake review, but I'll mention it again here. There was a Sephiroth mod. You would play as Sephiroth. The only time you wouldn't be Sephiroth would be like the cutscenes.
Yeah.
I never got to use it for whatever reason, and when I was reading up on the specs before I installed it, everything worked except the throw option. He would just be in his stance and something would come out of him.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
But the other game, have you ever modded any games?
No, so I actually, when I was playing Resident Evil 2 Remake really heavily, I would watch a lot of speedrunners, and a lot of them modded it to sing DMX when Mr. X was chasing you, or like one mod was Mr. X was Shrek, another one was he was Thomas the Tank Engine. So I always wanted to look into different mods for video games, but I've always been a console gamer until now. I'm actually currently waiting on my PC to get here. It was built by a company, and they're sending it to me shortly. It should be here by next week, hopefully.
Oh, nice.
Going through its stress test now. So my PC gaming knowledge is going to go way up once I am able to actually play good games on my PC.
Yeah, I only got out of the PC game because it was becoming too expensive. Because you're updating, like, at minimum every year.
Yeah.
But no, the other game I've modded is Jedi Knight.
Okay.
So I played as a blown-up Kirk. I played some multi-level games that were made by players that were pretty cool. Okay. And I got to play as Boba Fett.
Nice. That's sick.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
But that's about, like, for PC modding, that's all I got. So when the original Xbox was modded, my buddy at the time had one. And we played modded Halo. That was pretty. We actually broke the. Well, not really broke the console, but on the verge of breaking the console because they took the shotgun, and every pellet was a rocket.
Oh my goodness! So shooting like 6 rockets out of one shot. That's awesome.
And
that's so cool.
They made the handgun a nuke.
Oh my goodness! You guys are wild. I would have had so much fun playing that.
He had like just about every game. No, he probably had like every Nintendo game and every SNES and Sega game on that goddamn console.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's probably like a couple $1,000 into that, and he only paid like a few hundred.
Wow, yeah. That's awesome.
So. Pokemon Red, that's an RPG, right?
Yes.
So that's where you got your start in RPGs then?
Yeah, so pretty much with that game, I've never really pigeonholed myself to one genre, and it shows in my music taste and in also the games that I play. If you look at games I've played on stream, so I played Call of Duty, I played Resident Evil, I played League of Legends, I played Magic the Gathering. I never really stick to the same like character or gun for too long. My ADD kicks in after a couple weeks or days of using the gun, and I switch. And it's the same thing with genres of games I play. I can't really stay on one genre for too long. I have to switch around because I don't want to get bored of it, and my mind just wants that fresh experience of something new every once in a while. So, but my love of RPGs definitely started with Pokemon Red and Final Fantasy Tactics. That was actually one of the other RPGs. It was a turn-based RPG that I played for a very long time. And I still play it till this day. I actually found my original PlayStation copy of it. I actually have it sitting right next to me on the floor.
Nice.
But it was my old game. That's one of my favorite games of all time. And it's another RPG that I really love to play.
I got my started with Doom, actually. And then I was introduced to Dark Forces, which is basically Doom Star Wars.
Okay.
Played the shit out of Doom in college. Like my buddy went away for college, but whenever he came home or the few times I went to visit him, always brought my laptop and played Doom.
There it is.
We would always play like the one level that has like, oh god, how many? I can't remember how many cyber demons are in it, but it's the one level where it's like meant to kill you on any kind of difficulty.
Dude, and that was the fun part about that game is like no matter what difficulty you played on or how skilled you were, they made it hard for you. Like they made you work. They made you, and that's why it was so satisfying playing games like Doom because when you got to where you needed to be or you beat something that was taking you hours to beat, you felt like you actually did something.
Actually, that brought up a question. Do you feel that if Doom was basically graphically updated for today's graphics, Do you think that would work, or do you think it works on a nostalgia level where it has to look that way and it has to play that way, and if it was updated, it just doesn't work?
So I have a lot of theories on this, and I'm glad you asked me this. And I have a lot of thoughts on this. So if you remake a game like Doom in this day and age with the graphics, I think it works. And I think it works for the reason that games like Dark Souls work. Because a lot of games are very simplistic now, and I think a lot of games are losing their edge. Like Pokemon has become very simplistic. Every Pokemon game now has experience share for all of your Pokemon. So you're leveling up super fast. You probably remember this if you played back in the day, of the days of having to swap your first Pokemon, leveling it up one by one. And
to be honest, I never got into Pokemon.
Gotcha, so I can explain that. So, like, back in the day, what happened was only the Pokemon that battled would get experience.
All right, that's like FF7. If they're not in your party, they're not level. They're not. Well, they leveled up a little bit. FF9. If you didn't have them in your party, they didn't level up, and you needed them later, so you got fucked for not leveling them up.
Right, but these guys, even if they're in your party, they still don't level. They only level if they battle, and one battle's at a time. So
wow.
So, like, you used to have to go grind and battle wild Pokemon to level up all your guys individually.
Oh my god.
Now they have what's called experience share, where the guy that's battling gets the bulk of the experience, and all the Pokemon, all the 5 other ones in your party get a share of that experience, so that they level up with that guy, even if they're not battling.
Huh.
So in my eyes, a lot of RPGs have become very simplistic, and I think that if you take Doom and you bring Doom back with updated graphics, I think us older gamers are looking for these challenges of newer games. And I think a lot of the younger kids are getting very, very, like, annoyed with the ease of a lot of the games they're playing. And I think if you bring Doom back with updated graphics, and especially for these younger kids who are growing up with a lot of these shooters are really cartoony. And if you bring Doom back like what it is, like take the newer Doom games, they've been very successful, especially with our age, because we like the nostalgia factor of playing the game. But even with the younger ages, these Doom games are reaching out to people because it's different than what they're pushing down our throats. It's not the cartoony Fortnite. It's not the war of Call of Duty. It's space demons. It's taking two genres, the religious, the space, smashing them together and saying, here, try to beat this. We're going to make it super hard for you, but try to beat this. And when you do beat this, you're going to feel like you actually accomplished something.
Huh. Now, I haven't played the latest Doom Eternal. Have you?
I have not. I played the one right before that, but I haven't got a chance to play Eternal.
I've heard that Doom Eternal, you get to it's kind of RPG-ish. Like, you can upgrade your weapons and stuff.
Well. Yeah. I heard that as well.
I recently got VR. I bought the VR package that has Iron Man, and I've been streaming that too. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I did
catch you see.
It's a little disorienting because I'm still not quite used to VR. I think or at least the one friend calls them VR legs. You know, like sea legs.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I don't stream as long when I'm doing that one because I'll stream for like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'll be like, okay, I'm getting a little woozy, getting a little bit of a headache. I gotta go.
I understand completely.
I have Doom VR in my queue list. Yeah, I need to get a gun.
Okay.
I think it's gonna make me piss my pants.
If there's jump scares, it's gonna be wild.
Yeah, I think it's gonna make me piss my pants. And Doom hasn't scared me since I was like, 12, 15.
Right.
I bought the what was it, Xbox it came out for, and it was remastered for 360. Yeah, that didn't scare me as much, but it was a lot of fun. But this is like, have you VR'd at all?
No, but I've watched a few people who did the Resident Evil 7 demo when it first came out, like years ago, and it looked like so much fun to watch these people get scared of something that I know is not there, but to them it feels like it's right there.
Oh, yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. I also wanted to get like Batman VR, but my one friend Austin said it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll look it up on YouTube. There's got to be someone that's done it already because it's supposed to be part of the Arkham series.
Oh, okay, cool. I love those series. So if it's part of that, at minimum, the story will be good. The gameplay might be a little rough, but the story would definitely be good.
Yeah, that's my one complaint about the Iron Man VR. You don't walk when you're not in the suit. There's these gold lights that come up, and you have to look in that direction, and you have to push a button, and you just go there.
Oh, that kind of stinks.
Yeah, but I mean, you are tethered down. It's not a wireless set; you're wired.
Okay.
My friend Paul recently gave me his Quest 1. He put the offer up before I got the PS4 VR.
Okay.
I got it because I have been wanting to play, and I can't wait to put on that set and download Blade Runner Replicant Pursuit.
Oh.
Are you?
Sounds like
you ever
I'm
watch?
not a Blade Runner guy. I'm familiar. I saw it a long time ago.
Okay.
But a Blade Runner VR definitely sounds like something that I would definitely be interested in watching, if not playing.
Have you played Cyberpunk?
Yes.
Because until I get my head into that game, that's the closest I've come to being a Blade Runner so far.
Okay.
And I'm loving Cyberpunk. At first I started like, this is just like another RPG. It's a lot of people equated it to GTA Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I was one of them.
Yeah.
I was one of them. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that game to me. So that game to me, I feel like they could have done better with spacing out the side quests, because I'm a person that once I get everything in a queue, like quests, I have to finish all the side ones before I start doing the main ones. So like, it was very overwhelming for me to the point where I had like 15 side missions piled up. Like the one mission where you have to go track down all the rogue cars. I'm like,
I hated that. I hated those missions.
So did I.
I'm refusing to do it on my stream.
Dude, it was 15 of them, and I'm like, come on, man. Like, why are they making me do this now? That should have been a quest for the end of the game, after the main story, where, like, but my OCD kicks in where I'm like, I gotta clear these quests before I can do the main ones. I need to optimize my guy before I do anything main quest.
So which backstory did you go with? I went with Nomad.
I went with Street Rat.
Yeah? Is that... So... Do you know the Nomad, like, the start...
No, I'm not sure.
So as a nomad, you start outside the city, and you pick up... I don't know if Jackie Wells is one of the characters.
Yeah, Jackie.
Okay, so he's still your friend? Okay. You pick up Jackie outside the city, and then you go to the border, because you're smuggling something through with him.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it goes into a long cutscene of... In my opinion, the cutscene where you make it to Night City, and you're doing all these missions with Jackie, and you're building a friendship... Every single one of those missions should have been a fucking gameplay instead of a cutscene.
Yes, because I got those cutscenes too, and I'm like, why are they speeding through, like, 3 months of building a friendship with a main character?
Right.
This quickly. Like, why aren't they allowing me to get this experience?
And I saw Jackie getting killed a mile away. He's like, you gotta fucking die.
Oh, yeah. And, like, my whole thing, too, so, like, in my game, you meet Jackie through, so you have to go steal a car for one of these guys that you meet. You're already in Night City, and you have to steal a car for one of these big-time players. And when you go to steal it, Jackie's trying to steal it, too. And you get into a fight with Jackie, then you get arrested with Jackie, and then you get let out of jail with Jackie, and then you become best friends, and I'm going.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought that one was really cool. Now that you said your experience with him, I didn't know that it was different with each.
I had a feeling it would be different for each of them because there's 3 different locations, and in the case of the corporal character you could play, I bet you're even different, like economic class.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely see that.
I think I might go back and play through as the Street Rat and the Corpo just to see what they're like. But, all right, so I've played it 2.5 times. I accidentally rode over my second playthrough again. So I started the Twitch one. I went as a dude. I played as a girl just for me both times. I finished the game, and I did everything except clean up the area, which is, all the blue ones with the baseball bats and I was on my way to do those, and then I went back for a Twitch night, and then I accidentally wrote over that one.
Oh.
So I started up again, and again, since I'm playing so often, I surpassed. I was like level 25 on the second female character.
Okay.
And then went back into Twitch, and I noticed I overrode it. It's like, motherfucker.
So, funny story that you actually brought that up, because I have a few video game blunder stories just like that. So, Final Fantasy VII Remake came out. I grinded like 100+ hours of that game, and 100%ed it. All my material leveled up, all the material, every weapon unmaxed, everything.
I didn't quite go that far. I made sure I got Bahamut, and they're level 50. I think I've gotten. I'm probably like 85-90% done.
Okay, so I got everything done, right? I'm hyped. I'm excited. I did it all. And then some person decides that they want to hack into my PSN account. And they spent $2,000 of my money on my PSN account. So I had to get all that back, which thankfully I did. But when I finally got my login back, everything was backed up to the cloud. But if you've ever worked with the PSN cloud, when you go into it, when you go to retrieve a file, it says, would you like to override the cloud or your saved data? I clicked override the cloud.
Ooh.
That overrode all 100+ hours of my Final Fantasy VII Remake playthrough. So I now have to rebeat that game and re-100% it, and I'm stubbornly not doing it.
Why? I would look forward to it.
Only because I want to wait now that we're so close to the second disc. I want to wait, and I want to kind of...
The second one's dropping?
No, when I mean close, I mean like it's closer to us than it is farther away. So we probably have like another year and a half, maybe, if that. But now that I know the story, I'm just gonna wait and bang out 1 and 2 at the same time. So disc 1 and 2 at the same time, and I'm preferably gonna do it on stream when I get my PC because I'll have a capture card as well. So this way I can just do 1 and 2 on stream together.
Nice.
So yeah, and it's really and it left a sour taste in my mouth because like the person who did that's just like, come on, man, like I'm not a rich guy. Why are you doing this to me?
Right.
If you needed those games, you could have just messaged me. I would have bought them for you. I'm just kidding. But you know, I mean, it was a lot of work, and I'm thank goodness that I got everything back, and that was the only game that got erased. But I also have another big blunder through saved files on my stream. I don't know if you were there when I was streaming Mass Effect 1, but when we first started Mass Effect 1, I had a good amount of people watching, and we were created our own character in my image in the beginning, and that was about 40 minutes, and then we were about 3.5 hours into our playthrough, and based off of the cutscenes that you go through, 3.5 hours is probably realistically like an hour of gameplay. Most of that's cutscenes because there's a lot of choices in cutscenes in Mass Effect. And we got to a part where I decided I was going to go gung-ho and run in and do a fight. And for people who aren't familiar, I was playing on my Xbox One, and you can backwards compatibility play on an Xbox One. So you have to log into your Xbox 360 account on your Xbox One. But what the smart guy Chris forgot to do was log into his Xbox 360 account on his Xbox One. So when we died, we had no save file.
Oof.
So 3.5 hour stream automatically down the drain. We had to restart. But luckily, when I logged back in the second time, when I correctly logged back in, I had a level 60 character.
Nice.
And we were able to reuse and speed run up to the point where we were at. So it was a 6-hour stream of doing the same things both times. But everyone enjoyed it and had fun, so that's all that matters.
All right, so opinion on games where you can complete them, and then at the end you can go back into the world and do whatever you want. Would you rather like have it take place after you beat it, or just before the point of no return? Which is, I mean, the games that I've played recently that do that are Horizon Zero Dawn and Cyberpunk.
Okay.
Especially with Cyberpunk. Okay, with Nomad it doesn't work out too well because I went with the Autocados.
Okay.
So you can't really continue in Night City afterwards. I don't know about you, but what are your thoughts on the point of no return point? Do you want to continue like after that and just do whatever, or are you okay with going before the point of no return and doing whatever?
So that's a great question, and I have two answers for that because Mass Effect 3 is that way. Mass Effect 3, you have to complete all of the side quests, and they tell you before you go into the point of no return mission, they say, if you continue here, any quest you have not finished will automatically be unobtainable after you beat the game. So I think if it fits with the story of the game, like Mass Effect 3. So for instance, when the whole point of Mass Effect 3 is to stop the world from being destroyed. So when you go into the final mission, you're trying to stop the world from being destroyed. You're trying to fight the Reapers and defeat the Reapers and stop them from destroying the world. Spoiler alert, when you do this, the certain aspects of the world get destroyed, so you physically wouldn't be able to go back and do those missions because you don't have your ship anymore, and space travel's kind of wonky at that point in time of the game. So in a game like that, I totally agree with their theological way of doing it and not allowing you to go back and continue those side missions. But in certain games, if it's just like, we're not going to let you go back because we want you to replay the game, I don't think that's cool. I think if the story, like if you beat a game and the story makes sense for you to be able to continue to do things after you've beaten the final boss of that game, they should allow you to do that. And I'm perfectly okay with that. But if it doesn't thematically make sense to the game, then I definitely think that the point of no return is a good way to go.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, on both ideas. It only makes sense for the way I went through Cyberpunk because you literally leave the state, so it's kind of difficult to go. But with Street Rat, do you stay in Night City? Well, how did yours end?
So I'm not finished it yet.
I'm
probably about 60% through.
Okay.
Because I started really grinding Call of Duty, so I kind of have Cyberpunk to the back burner for right now. I'm definitely going to pick it back up soon, but probably off stream. But I have not finished mine yet, so I'm not too sure how much.
Oh no, I played 80 hours because if I wasn't like streaming, I would get home from work, eat something, watch something on YouTube, and then I would just immediately get back into Cyberpunk. And the only reason why I haven't made up a new account is because I don't want to accidentally override it again. And I figured,
that makes sense.
I figured I just got a copy of the Baldur's Gate games, the remastered editions. I played it a little bit when it came out for PC, and I figured, I think my friend Chris told me that Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out.
Okay.
So I would just get it, and I started playing it. It's more enjoyable if you have friends to play with. If you're just by yourself and you're collecting NPCs for your party, it's fun.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Let's see. So we've been talking a lot about RPGs, but what other shooters have you played besides Call of Duty? Have you played? I'm guessing you played Halo, or?
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay.
You're a Halo fan? Okay.
Woo! All right. So, I'll give you a little bit of background about me and my name, like my gaming name CM3 and things like that. So, my first ever diving into online gaming was Halo. Halo was the first game I played online for the original Xbox. And my original, as soon as Xbox Live came out, I had it. I had it the day it came out. All my cousins had it, all my friends had it, we all played. And my OG original gamer tag that I just recently switched like 2 years ago was Spartian Killer.
Spartian?
Yes, Spartian. Not Spartan, Spartian. Because I was young, I didn't know how to spell Spartan, and I spelled it with an I at the end. So it was Spartian Killer. And it actually ended up working because Spartans were kind of aliens, even though they were humans, but they were kind of like space themed, so it kind of worked out a little bit. And I always played as Arbiter when Halo 2 came out.
Oh,
my
nice.
character was always Arbiter. So the name kind of fit me for the character I played. But yeah, I was Spartian Killer for the longest.
As Bob Ross would say, a happy accident.
Exactly. and it was cool because that name kind of stuck with me for a very long time. But then when I started streaming, I wanted something kind of more simplistic, something that wasn't locked into a genre like Halo, because I played a bunch of different games. I wasn't really streaming Halo at the time. So I switched it to CM3, which are my initials, and 3 was always my number in sports. So I just attached that there. For some reason, Twitch won't let me have just CM3. Nobody else in the world has CM3, so I had to add the TV on the end. But I prefer just CM. You don't have to add the TV. It's fine, but for branding purposes, CM3 TV. But yeah, so Halo was really the first game that really got me into online and competitive multiplayer gaming. And the cool part about Halo was you could play with your friends. And we did like custom in-house games where we would do Infected. We used to play Infected games all the time. If you're not familiar with Infected's where one person has a sword, everybody else has a pistol, and when you kill a person who has a pistol, they now gain a sword and they become your teammate. And the goal is to either be the last person alive for a certain amount of time or to turn everybody into an infected person, which we played that all the time. We also had another game mode called Michael Myers, where one person was a juggernaut and they only had a melee weapon, but they were super hard to kill. Everyone else had snipers, and the juggernaut had to play the Michael Myers theme music through their mic so everybody could hear them coming. And they walked super slow. The people that weren't Michael Myers would get one shot by him if they got hit. Michael Myers probably took like 30 sniper shots to kill, but it was so much fun to play. Like the variants that we created, and we didn't personally create that variance. Like we found somebody that did that, and we went along with it. But there was dodgeball where you got to throw the grenades back and forth at people and the skulls at people. There were so many cool game modes and mods that you could create within the game. You didn't even need any type of mod to make these mods in the game. You could create them yourself. So the world of Halo was always something that I loved when I was younger and loved to play. And then I found Gears of War. And that was the first game I played super competitively. It's hard for me to, like, when I say this, a lot of people don't believe me because I honestly don't have proof of it, because this was probably like 13, 14, 15 years ago that I was doing this. Like, this was Gears 1. And I was actually ranked 5th in the nation because they had leaderboards online for Gears of War. I was ranked 5th in the nation in Gears of War.
Wow.
And then my Xbox 360 got the Red Ring of Death.
Ooh.
Before they knew what the Red Ring of Death was. I had to send in all of my controllers, all of my games, my system, my hard drive, the plug and the video plug to Microsoft because they had no idea what this was. I was one of the first people to get the Red Ring of Death.
Wow.
And obviously, there was probably other people around the world getting it at the same time I was, but, like, I got it I remember, it was on Thanksgiving. I went downstairs after everybody had left to go play Gears of War, to go grind, and the Red Ring of Death came up, and I just couldn't turn my Xbox back on. And it took them 4 months for me to get my Xbox back. By the time I got it back, I had dropped insanely far and, like, literally lost all motivation to continue to grind that game. And I regret it every single day because I probably could have been very, very good at that game if I continued.
They should have just sent you a replacement.
So,
like, after a week, it's like, yeah, we don't know what's going on. Here's a new one.
I agree with that as well. And it was... So the reason why they told me they didn't was because they would have had to send me a new hard drive, and I would have lost all of the saved data and the games that I had on there. And I asked them, I'm like, well, can you just send me back the hard drive later if you find out nothing's wrong with it? And they were like, well, then you would have to send us back this hard drive. And back then, things weren't easily shipped back and forth. Like, it was like you have to go get your own box and get your own things. Like, they weren't sending you the things you needed to send to them. So just to solve a headache of a 13, 14-year-old boy, I was just like, no, just fix it and give it back to me. I want all my save stuff back. I want everything back. Fix it and give it back to me.
I've only played the first 2 Gears of War. I never played the third one. Is there only 3?
4.
There's 4?
Yeah, there's 5 now. There's 5.
Oh, God.
I've gone all the way up to 4. I've just not gotten. I've not really got around to playing 5. I've heard good things about all of them, but 4 is where I stopped at, and I enjoyed them all. I really did. Four has a introduces a feature that Resident Evil 6 has, where you're playing with another character, so you're the main character and your buddies, like your side characters, with you while you're playing. And if you have campaign open to online play, and you can have somebody just jump in as your second character with you, and they can play the story.
That's cool. That reminded me of the one game. It was built for 2 players. They wore these Kevlar hockey masks.
Army of Two.
Yes.
Yeah, Army of Two.
That game was amazing.
So good.
And what's so awesome is that if you went down, your buddy could drag you behind.
Yep. That game was very well designed, and I think that game was ahead of its time, because I don't think that game got nearly enough credit that it deserved, because I really enjoyed that game as well.
Oh yeah, it's a game. Even though it was new for what it was, it felt weird playing it by yourself.
Definitely did. I agree 1,000%, because like when your buddy would go down and it's a computer, you're just kind of like, all right, come here, let me try again. It was like a chore. But when like your friend went down, you're like, you go, dude, like I got you, I'm gonna drag you back. Like you just went full on like lifesaver mode when it was your buddy, because you didn't want your buddy to have to sit there and not be able to interact while you're running through. You want them up right there with you battling. But when it's an NPC, you're like, I'll get to you when I get to you, whatever, man. Just kind of crawl outside yourself.
There was it. I think there was another game similar to it, or was it sequel? I remember
they did have a second one.
I remember part of the title was one of the guys' name was Kane.
I think that's the same game. Don't quote me on that. Not 100% sure, but I believe it's the same game.
I can't remember. I just remember Kane was in the title because it's one of the characters, and it's based on 2 characters. I can't remember if that's Army of Two or not.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure.
But to my knowledge, Army of Two is the only one that's ever done that. Now, there was a huge chunk of time where I didn't really play video games because my group of friends at the time were all on the tabletop or card games, so I was just playing the shit out of D&D.
Yeah.
You ever get into tabletop or card games?
Yeah, so I actually played Magic the Gathering. I played Yu-Gi-Oh! For a very long time. I played Pokemon for a while, but I probably played Magic the Gathering for about 16 years.
Oh, wow.
I have a very extensive collection. I played at a high level. I played at a low level. I played at a mid level. I came in 11th. I came in 11th at one really big tournament. 3 spots away from making it to the top 8. I was very upset. I lost my last match and didn't make it there. But I play Magic the Gathering online on stream sometimes when I'm just trying to have a chill stream and not trying to yell at my screen for 20 minutes when I die in Call of Duty. But yeah, I'm a big card game guy as well.
I'm more of like a average passive kind of MTG player, because it took me a while to actually figure out how to build at least a decent deck, let alone a good one.
Gotcha.
Because at first I would just like go with themes. I was like, I want to build a vampire deck, and I did it. And it was like 80 cards, and I probably could have just used 40.
Right.
It's like I put the card in there because it did a cool thing, and then I tried to do obscure things like black and white, which I actually have one that kind of works, because there are black and white creatures, but I'm trying to remember the cards. I can't remember the cards. But
what does it do?
I can't remember. I think I might grab it real quick. Hold on.
Good. I have a very big Magic knowledge, so.
I have to remember where I put it. I'm going to have to edit all that out. I can't remember where I put it. I used to have a cigar box I'd hold them in, and I was taking it from my room to the basement because the house is mine, long story short. And I dropped the damn box.
Oh.
It went all over the goddamn place.
That's the worst.
Yeah, the box got completely destroyed, unfortunately. So I had to rebuild the decks, and I think I slimmed it out just a little bit. But I want to remember that the black and white deck also had some tap destroys in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mixed it in with like some black creatures that had protection from white and white vice versa. It was pretty well balanced. I just wish I could find it. Maybe we could hang out sometime. We can just go over it.
Oh yeah.
You, me, and Mike can play Magic because I know he's a huge Magic guy. Now I know you guys, or at least he plays Commander. You play Commander?
Oh yes. Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
I never got into any tournaments or anything. I wish I could have gone to a convention. But my group of friends I used to hang out with, we only battled each other. Either it would be 1-on-1 or just like everyone for themselves in a group. Yeah. We used to play Arch Enemy for a little bit, which is pretty cool. That's where I got my dragon deck.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played at every single level there is, low, middle, high. Like I've gone to paid tournaments, I've gone to Magic sponsored, Wizards of the Coast sponsored tournaments. I've played at local card shops. I played at tabletop with friends. Like I built casual decks. I built competitive decks. I have a very good game knowledge of the whole game of Magic.
Oh, wow.
The one thing I pride myself as a gamer in general is that when I play a game, whether it be Magic the Gathering, Call of Duty, I study it. I played League of Legends for 3 years. I still dabble in it every once in a while, but I studied that game for 3 years. I watched the pros play. I watched people stream. I watched game theory on it. I looked up what items for each character. I pride myself on when I try to play a game, I want to be as good as I possibly can be at it. So I actually take the time to study and acknowledge and learn the game. And Magic is something that's always been a passion of mine, so I've always kept up with the meta and kept up with how the game evolves. So I've been very, very good at learning and knowing what's going on in that game, especially with Call of Duty now that there's a Battle Royale. I've been very, very heavily involved in the game science of it and the mechanic science of it with what guns are the best, which attachments are the best, where are the best spots to land, what's the most optimal way to do certain things. Because the more knowledge I gain, the more knowledge I can give to other people through my stream, my TikTok, my Instagram, my Twitter. I can spread my knowledge to people that want to learn and want to grow.
You ever thought about being a tester? Because it sounds like you'd be a really good tester.
So I did actually look into that. That's something I might actually be interested in the future. Right now, I don't see, like, once a job gets put onto something, then I feel like, for me at least, I feel like it kind of loses some of its, like, innocence for me when somebody's like, all right, this is your job now. Like, because then I kind of feel like I'm forced to do that rather than doing it on my own. But it's playing video games. It's testing video games. I know I love it. So I know I wouldn't get that feeling. It's just I'd have to figure out when and what the timing would have to be right for me to be able to do something like that. But I definitely have thought about that.
Okay, so you played card games. You ever played any tabletop games?
Okay, funny story. So you guys know Mike. He was on the street. He's been on your podcast a few times. He's a good friend of yours. Him and all of them, they had it. So we went out to we go to a local card store. We used to go there every Tuesday. And the guys we played with, we play a bunch of Magic until about 7 or 8 o'clock, and then they would do their D&D campaign. So one day they decided they would let me join in on their D&D campaign. I was never a person that was into D&D. I always looked at it as like D&D, get it away. Like, but once I realized what it actually was, and once I learned about it and had an open mind towards it, I realized it's really cool. It's a really awesome thing. It's a way for people to show their creativity and have fun and express themselves. So I'm at the point they invited me into their group to play. I'm still at the point where I'm like, this really isn't for me, but I get why they do it. And I decided that I was going to be an acid-spitting llama, but not the acid that you're thinking, the drug acid. So I was spitting acid all over the place. They were trying to do that campaign, and they quickly did not like that and quickly killed me off.
Oh my God, that is awesome.
That was my first interaction with D&D, them killing me off because I'm spitting the drug acid all over.
I either need to DM for you or you need to DM. Imagination like that, I think you would be an amazing DM.
I also thought about that as well. But my second interaction with
acid
D&D,
spitting llama.
My second interaction was we did what's called Roll for Your Shoes. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
No.
So it's a one-shot. You do it in one night. And you just roll a d6, and you say, I want to be good at this. You roll a d6. If you hit a 3 or a 4, you succeed in doing it. If you hit a 5 or a 6, you become proficient in it. If you hit a 1 or a 2, you don't succeed in doing it.
Mm.
So I was just trying to find the most off-the-wall random things that I could be good at. One of them, you may have to edit this out. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but one of them was having intercourse.
Say whatever you want, so long as it's not a slur.
Perfect. One of them was having intercourse that I said I was going to be proficient in. So I rolled and I got proficient in it. And the DM decided that I had to roll a secret check. So I rolled a secret check and I failed. And that secret check was I got an STD and died. So I quickly died in that one as well. So if you guys can tell, there's a theme. I die in most of the D&D campaigns they put me in. The third experience and final experience I had with D&D, and this was before the COVID outbreak, was my one friend was running a Magic the Gathering themed D&D. And he pretty much said that this was going to be like an intro level one. You can kind of do whatever you want. He's going to be real relaxed. He's going to go by the book with his DMing skills. And I was like, dude, awesome. Like, this is what I want. I want something where we can kind of all just have fun, do our thing, and like do some crazy off-the-wall stuff as we go along. So one of my favorite characters in Magic the Gathering is Nicobolus. He's a giant elder dragon. He is the bad guy in the Magic the Gathering lore. I'm not typically on the bad guy side. I'm normally the good guys. But Nicobolus is just one of my favorite characters.
No, I think I'm pretty sure he's in my dragon deck.
Yeah, most likely. So I made a character based around him, and as soon as the day comes for us to start our campaign, the DM gets a new job, passes the campaign off to one of our other friends who is more strict and serious about it. Ooh. And I had ice breath, and we were in a dungeon where we couldn't use magic. But my argument here, and I like to angle shoot a lot, my argument here was, okay, we can't use magic, but the ice breath is part of my physiological being. Like, it's part of me. It's not magic.
Right.
It's created inside of me through an organ, and I breathe it out. So why can't I use it? And he was like, well, that's not fair. You'll be able to one-shot the basement, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, but, like, this isn't what this campaign was about. This campaign was about us doing crazy off-the-wall stuff. So, like, and I had a big black panther named Small Cat, and they stole him from me and wouldn't give him back to me, so that automatically got me pissed off too as well, because I couldn't freeze Small Cat with my ice breath. So I immediately was like, all right, just kill me, and I died.
Yeah, a dick DM can ruin it.
And he's not normally a dick DM, but he was going by the book, and the book said no magic. There was nothing to support my argument that the ice breath wasn't magic besides what I had said. So I get where he's coming from, but
part of being a DM is you have to be flexible, and it just sounded like he was just being a rule Nazi. But I mean, just going off your information, that's all I can surmise.
That and he kind of knowing. So like him knowing me, he thought I was just trying to be an ass and trying to ruin the campaign, because his only other experience with me was the acid-spitting llama. So I can understand why he was doing it. I get it completely.
Okay, but like, I mean, I think, at least for me, if your instances happened to me, I think I would be like, you're being a little more logical in this one.
Exactly. I explained myself in this. I wasn't like, I'm an acid-spitting llama because I'm an acid-spitting llama. No, I'm a dragon. I should be able to, I'm a half dragon, half human. I should be able to breathe ice.
Right, yeah.
As I can.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's part of the race, so yeah.
So now, I definitely, now that I'm more mature to D&D in the aspect of it, I definitely would try to pick it up again and do it again. I definitely would prefer to do it in person rather than over a computer, because I'm a person that likes to do things in person. I like to see people's reactions. I like to hear people's tones better. I'm more of a one-on-one type person, or not a one-on-one, but first face-to-face type person.
Right.
So, and that brings me, that's why I do Twitch. I mean, because Twitch is one of the ways I get to interact with people, and it's not a face-to-face, but there's so many people, including you. I would have never met you if it wasn't for Twitch. You and me wouldn't be sitting here doing this right now if it wasn't for Pope and it wasn't for Twitch.
Right.
Pope posted my stream, you jumped in one day, and you were there you were there the next 3 months watching the games with me. It was so cool. And I'm glad I met you, because you're a great guy.
Oh, well, thank you.
No, definitely. And I wouldn't be having this experience right now if I didn't meet you and if I wasn't streaming. And I've met so many awesome people through streaming and playing video games that, I'm so thankful for it. And I can't wait to do this more, because this is something I want to do as a career if I can. And I'm doing things every single day to get to where I need to be to make this a career for myself. And it's growing every single day. I just got professionally done emotes and sub badges the other day. My PC should be in shortly. I got new webcams. I got new monitors. I got a ring light. There's been two. I always say this to everyone. There's two things that I've been good at in my life, and there's two things I know I'm good at, and that's playing video games and speaking. I'm a very good talker, and I've been told this by multiple people, because when I speak with conviction. And Twitch is all about talking, engaging, and playing video games, and that's something I know I'm good at, and it's kind of like my calling, and I just need. And now I got the video game playing down, and I have the speaking down. I just need to get myself out there. I need to get a bigger audience, and that's what my goal is.
Well, I know you started doing that, and I want to thank you for this as well. You have a community on Discord that's specifically for like new creators, so we can network and help each other out. You want to plug that?
So, unfortunately, there's a good thing and a bad thing about that. Unfortunately, the Discord has slowed down a lot, and that's partly my fault because I haven't been as active in it as well. But I still would like people to join it. It's the Jelly Squad Discord. I would love for people to join it. My subscribers are called the Jelly Squad because we love jelly donuts for some reason in that squad. But no. So we're the Jelly Squad, and I would love for people to join that because it's going to get rebranded. Not rebranded in the name, but it's going to get updated. There's going to be more things added to it. It got kind of put to the back burner a little bit because I've been focusing on the stream part right now. But the Discord is going to try to get bigger and grow, and anyone and everyone can feel free to join and ask questions and just genuinely ask for help because that's what they're here for. That's what we're here for.
All right.
I find I don't see any reason why everyone can't help everyone. I understand that that's obviously not a huge realistic thing, but everyone can succeed and everyone can go far as long as they have that mindset. And if anyone needs my help, as long as it's not something outrageous, I'm always here to feel free to give advice to the best of my ability. And if I can't get you that advice, I'll find someone who can that's willing to help.
Yeah.
Because I just want to help.
That's what I like about your Discord so much, because there's plenty of content creators out there that have made it, and they'll have like free advice videos, but they're also going to be like, well, buy this from me, and we'll have people help you out. So it's like, dude, like if you're making, some of them are making money hand over fist. Why? Your free content is still making money because of the ad revenues. I thought about what you did, and I'm glad someone did it, and you've made the Discord.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. So whether or not others are active in the Discord is irrelevant, because if you type something in there, if anyone types something in there, I will always respond. There's not everybody in there is active. Some people are just in there just to be in there to help me have numbers in there, which I don't care about the numbers. I just care about having people in there and engaging.
Yeah, quality over quantity.
Exactly. But if you, the one thing I can guarantee is that if you join that Discord and you type something in there, you will not be ignored. I will answer you, whether it be personally or in the Discord. I will reach out to you no matter what. It may not be right away, but I do. That Discord does not go unnoticed. I always have notifications up so that if somebody in there needs help with something, I will be there to answer if somebody else cannot.
Nice. Since we're kind of talking about social media, I've recently diversified. I haven't gone on Twitter. I refuse to go on Twitter because, just from what I understand, and my personal opinion, it's the death of free speech.
Yeah, things do get censored quite a bit on that.
So I joined Minds.com, which is like a Facebook alternative, and then there's Locals.com, which is kind of like another Facebook alternative, but it's weirder. You have to subscribe to the feeds. Like, I have my own feed, but if people don't subscribe to me, they don't see it. So wait, you froze up there. I think we may have lost Chris. And we're back.
Hey.
My internet crashed. I was having problems earlier, and we're back, and hopefully we're going to be here until we actually wrap up.
Let's do it.
So yeah, now I'm on a newer platform called PocketNet.app. You ever heard of them?
No, I've not.
It's completely decentralized. It's pretty interesting. It's I don't know how to describe it. Like each person's a node, and it's so long as people are on the app, it's going to exist. It can't be like it's not beholden to any one server network or anything like that. It's really that's the best knowledge I have about it.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I went to BitChute. You hear BitChute?
Okay.
Yeah.
No, not familiar with that.
Yeah, it's basically like YouTube, but
okay.
Yeah, there's some features I'd like it to have, but it works.
Yeah.
But you're on Twitch, you're on Twitter, you're on Instagram.
I'm on TikTok.
TikTok?
Yes.
I don't know what to do with TikTok because I've only ever seen people just like do 5-second, 10-second videos to music.
Yeah, so TikTok for a streamer is huge because it allows you can voice over your clips, you can put music to your clips, and for me, Call of Duty is really big on clips, the Call of Duty community. So I do a lot of I also do this thing that I started. They're episodes called COD Class, which I take a clip from one of my streams and I break it down in a 60-second video. My thought process while I was in that situation in the game, why I made certain decisions, why I decided to shoot this person over this person, why I decided to move to a certain area, and I break it down instead of people just watching a clip and be like, oh man, sick kills. I let them know my thought process and I give them a little bit of like the analytical side of the clip they're watching so that they can potentially understand it more and make those plays for themselves if they're ever in that situation.
So is TikTok like a short time YouTube then? Because I don't see why you just couldn't do it.
It's like do you ever heard of Vine?
I've heard of Vine. I've never been on Vine, but it was like the YouTube before YouTube.
Yeah, so Vine was like quick 15-second videos. So what TikTok is, it's as short as 5 seconds and as long as 60 seconds. And for someone from your profession, you could essentially be like, you could just plug each new video. Be like, hey, on this episode, we're talking about this. I have this person on. These are the topics we're talking about. Stop by the YouTube channel and watch this. And then that's all you need to do. And you can put like a little song in the background and just have a video of you saying that. And then this way, it just lets people know, hey, this is what this guy's doing. This is the links to all these things. It also allows you, in your profile, it'll say your little bio. And then if you have an Instagram or a YouTube, there's a little button that it lets you link your Instagram and YouTube to, so that all they have to do, whether they're on their phone or computer, is click that button and click on Instagram or YouTube, and it'll bring them right to it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And when I first saw it, it was all like, okay, yeah, this is just a bunch of people dancing on here and like doing stupid stuff. But then I watched a content creator, a streamer, go from 50 followers on Twitch. I followed them because they were really cool. They played the same games I did. They went from 50 followers on Twitch. They started their TikTok. We're putting out 3 to 4 TikToks a day. Went from 50 followers to 700 followers in a week and a half.
That's insane.
Yeah, TikTok is a huge, huge media for streamers and content creators. It's really big.
Yeah, see, the biggest following I have is on Instagram, but it's like you and one other person that actually likes my content. I think all the other ones are like they followed me because I followed them, which is like which doesn't work.
So that's actually a topic we can actually speak on as well, as the follow for follow.
Yeah.
And that's a big, big topic and a big way to go down a toxic rabbit hole as a content creator, because what people don't understand is these sponsorship places, these if you're trying to get sponsored as a streamer, YouTuber, content creator, they don't care about how many followers you have. They care about how much engagement is going on with your post.
Right.
So I've seen content creators. So there's a page that I follow, And this was back when I was first starting out because I wasn't really sure about follow for follow. I didn't really know anything about it. And I was just like, oh, cool. Like, somebody wants to follow me, I'll follow them and support them. But all that person is to you is a number. That's all they care about is the number. So that doesn't mean anything. And especially if you're a Twitch streamer, that means nothing. Because, sure, you can have 1,000. I know somebody that's got 5,000 followers on Twitch, right? And I have 317. And this person's got 5,000, and they average 2 viewers a stream.
Oh, wow.
They have 5,000 people that, and I'll probably say about half probably get a notification when this person goes live. But whenever I look into the stream, there's only 2 people there. Because I guarantee you majority of those followers are follow for followers. Follow for followers do not watch your streams. They do not jump in your chat. They don't care about that kind of stuff. They just want their numbers to get up there. And any sort of sponsor is not going to give you a sponsorship if you're averaging 2 viewers. Because your sponsorships, the way you promote them is by people seeing their stuff on your stream and on your screen while you're playing your game. And if it's the same 2 people watching you every time, those sponsors aren't going to want to sponsor you because you're not reaching the audience. Right. But if somebody like me who has 317 followers, but let's say I don't average this number, but let's say I average 20 concurrent viewers, but only have 317 followers, that's bigger to a company than somebody who has 5,000 followers and only averages 2 followers. Because I have a concurrent 20 people that are seeing these ads on my screen in real time that they could potentially become customers of this company.
Yeah, that's why I've been mostly just focusing on making content, and I've done a pretty good job at least releasing a review a Thursday.
Perfect.
I need to either get like Mike or Austin back on here as regulars, or I need to find new people to interview. That's one thing I didn't think I would run into as a problem is finding people to have on the podcast.
Oh yeah, and for yours is so good, your podcast, because it's you're entertainment based. It's not just movies, it's not just video games or music. You're entertainment based, so you can grab from so many pools of people that literally it can broaden your viewership and your brand, because you can branch off and different types of people will watch different types of things, and which is really cool. Like I've watched like the way I found you was obviously through my stream, but also when you were done interviewing Pope or Mike, I'm sorry, I always call him Pope, but for Final Fantasy VII, the remake, you guys did the interview where you guys talked about that. That was the first interactions I've ever had with your podcast, and I loved it. I watched the whole thing start to finish, and
nice.
I loved it.
Thank you.
So awesome. Like, and that's when I subscribed to you, and it was good content. It's good content, and with you and me, we're in the growing phase with what we're doing. We're trying to get our name out there. We have good content. We're just trying to get our name out there. That's the hardest part about being a content creator, is getting your name and your brand out there, only because you have to set yourself aside from the other people that are doing it, because when you do something, people can just be like, oh, well, there's already somebody doing this, and I already follow them, so what's the point? So you have to, and the good thing with you is you branch out into different forms of entertainment, and you can. So that's where you set yourself differently from other people. And for me, I'm more of, if you watch a lot of COD streamers can be very toxic. They don't really interact with their chat much. And I'm not speaking for the COD community as a whole, it's just certain ones. There's a stigma on the COD community of being toxic and not interacting with their chat and kind of just playing the game. But a lot of people who watch Call of Duty are just there for gameplay. But when you come to my stream, if you say something in chat, I'm engaging with you. Whether if I'm in the middle of a battle, I had 4 monitors. I had 1 for my game, 3 for my stream while I'm streaming.
Oh my God.
So like, my peripherals will see my chat move if somebody's talking. So if you put something in my chat, if I'm in a fight, I'll wait till I'm done and look over. But if I'm not doing anything, if I'm running around looting or just moving around, I'm going to look, I'm going to read, and I'm going to engage. Because my number one goal as a streamer is to engage with my chat. That's what I want to do. you can go anywhere else for gameplay. This is one of my mottos. My gameplay is average, but my personality is above average. My personality is what draws people in. I was able to get 317 followers without a face cam, without any sort of overlay or any sort of alert sounds or notifications for people to pop up. And people came based off of my gameplay and my personality. And that's what I pride myself on. And I think part of being a content creator is putting yourself out there and not worrying about what other people think about you.
I definitely agree with that. As far as Twitch goes, I struggle on keeping the conversation going because 9 times out of 10 there's no one there.
So
I mean,
I learned with that is I actually researched that because there was a lot of times where I was streaming to no one but myself. And one guy I reached out to actually told me, he goes, why not just talk to yourself?
I have started doing that. I mean, I talk as if there is someone there. And it's kind of easy to do that because I put myself in front of the camera and I just talk to a camera.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of difficult when you don't get any feedback. And like the 1 or 2 times, it's like someone will say something, I'll catch it when they're probably gone already because there's one person, when I started playing Dark Forces, they're Carpet 22 on Twitch. And we kind of had a little conversation one night, and he popped up on Cyberpunk the other night. He's like, oh, what you got an graphics update or something? And I tried to respond to them, but they weren't there. And actually, what's your name? Do You Even Geek showed up on once. And I guess because I'm not used to anyone being there, I just responded too late.
And that happens. And the biggest thing about putting yourself out there and reaching out to your audience and speaking, a friend actually just asked me what are some tips I had for somebody starting streaming. I said, talk to yourself because people aren't going to want to come into a chat where they just watch a video game because they can go on YouTube for that. So you need to make sure, and because they don't know that you're talking to somebody, if you're really talking to somebody or not, because they could have jumped in after the comment was already typed in your chat. They won't be able to see it. So what I would suggest to you is if you miss a comment late, don't worry about it. You can personal message that person like, hey, saw your comment, noticed you didn't respond. I'm sorry, my bad, I saw it late. I'm still new to this kind of stuff, if you want to. Right. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone. They know that if they're watching Twitch actively, they know that you might not see everything they say right away. And that's the one thing is us as content creators got to understand that we're not going to be able to please everyone. We're not going to be able to reach everyone. And we got to remember that it's all about what we do has to be for us, because if it's not for us, we're not going to be happy doing it. And we're not going to be authentic in our interactions. And the biggest the biggest reason why people stop being a content creator is because they feel like they're not advancing or accomplishing anything because it's all happening in real time. Like, you're streaming every single day and your numbers are being sent to you every single day. So if you have a stream where you just average 7 viewers, but then the next one you average 1, you look at that and that's really defeating to a content creator. Like, why did I go down 6 viewers? Like, what did I do wrong? You start overthinking it. But you got to think about the real world aspect of that. Those people might have been doing something different that day. They might not have been able to watch. They might not have been able to engage. They might have only been able to have you up on the screen because they were doing something else. And you just need to remember that it's not instant gratification. This is a grind. People look at these big streamers and are like, hey, why can't I get 10,000 viewers?
Right.
Well, this guy's been doing this for this guy or girl's been doing this for X plus years. They've been grinding to get to where they need to be for X plus years. They're not an overnight celebrity. Like, they may have came from a competitive scene where people knew them, or they may have grinded for X amount of years to get to where they need to be. I remember watching Ninja back in his Halo days where he would have 3,000 viewers on Twitch. Now the dude has 15,000 concurrent viewers every time I pull him up. And it's because he grinded every single day to get to where he needed to be. And people are so numbers driven that it hurts them. I always recommend turning off the amount of viewers that are in your stream while you're streaming, because if you look at that number, it's disheartening when you see 1, 2, 0.
I don't even have it up. I just have the chat up.
Exactly. That's the best way to do it. Just have chat.
Yeah.
Just have your chat up so you can interact with them. It's the best thing to do. You gotta have an optimistic mindset as a content creator, or you will fail. You will fail because it's not going to happen overnight unless by some godly reason one of these big content creators decides that they want to raid you or host you with 30,000 viewers. And even then, you're not guaranteed because they can raid you with 30,000 viewers and 5,000 of them could follow you. But again, that goes back to what I talked about earlier, the numbers. Those are 5,000 people, but how many of them are actually going to watch you every time you're live?
Yeah, because the YouTube channels I watch on a daily basis, I'm not even subscribed to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing. And it's probably not for a lack of wanting to. It's just because you don't think about it.
Well, for one, they get suggested to me anyway.
Okay.
And like, I just type in a letter, and they appear in my search. So there's no need for me, and I know their schedule.
There you go.
I think subscriptions are kind of meaningless, even though we ask for them.
No, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know the YouTube aspect of it. I have a YouTube page. It's really crappy. It's got like 5 Warzone wins on it, and they're in awful quality because they were ripping off of my Xbox. But I'm planning on growing that when I get the PC, because the quality of the videos will be better. I can edit them. I can do voiceovers. I can take my 60-second COD classes from TikTok and make them 20-minute or 10-minute COD classes on YouTube where people can watch a whole game and have me break down a whole game.
So you want to be kind of like a tutorial or like a walkthrough?
It'd be like a walkthrough.
Or kind of like a commentary.
A live walkthrough. Commentary, yeah, like a commentary walkthrough. So the only things they would hear, that the viewer would hear, is I would take out my Twitch audio. They would only hear game audio and then me speaking over the game audio.
All right. That's pretty cool.
And yeah, because from what I've researched and seen, I haven't seen any other Call of Duty content creators doing breakdowns. So if I can get ahead of the game and do that, that is me standing out amongst the Call of Duty crowd.
Yeah, that's my one problem with what I want to do. Well, what I started and keep on doing is movie reviews. There are so many established movie reviewers out there, and unfortunately, I've reviewed some of the movies that they've done, and I've either while I'm making the video or I'll go back and watch it. Like they said the exact same thing. God damn it!
And that's understandable.
That's why I'm breaking out into like older films recently. I've been watching Akira Kurosawa movies. So I started with Seven Samurai. Yojimbo was last Thursday. This Thursday coming up is the sequel, Sanjuro, and I'm really enjoying these samurai films.
That's a cool way for you to branch off into what other people aren't doing. Other people probably aren't reviewing these types of movies or doing this. And there's definitely, now with the popularity of anime, there's definitely a market for people to want to watch those types of movie reviews because more people are branching off into that style and that culture and wanting to learn more about that and read and view more into that kind of stuff.
And to my knowledge, there aren't any, like, new movie buffs that are doing reviews. Like, I've always loved movies. I mean, my first job was working at a movie theater. But I wouldn't, at the time, I would not have considered myself a movie buff. And based on the a lot of movies I haven't seen, I definitely wouldn't be considered a movie buff. But it just started out like, I have this business idea. My real business idea is just to have like a hobby store where people hang out.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why don't I try out this YouTube thing? And and the YouTubers I watch and still watch review movies. Like, I can do that.
Exactly.
Well, my first reviews are still kind of crappy, and I'm getting just a little better. And with broadening my filming, I don't know where I was going. By watching more movies, let's put it that way, and learning about film and watching behind the scenes, I think I have perspectives that most movie reviews, especially established ones, don't necessarily have because they know about film and they know about like all the different great actors and directors and producers. I'm learning that, and I think that's I actually never thought of it that way until just about now. Like that's what I could possibly bring new eyes to and learning about film.
Exactly, and it's funny because what just happened? Changed my view. I'm sorry, it's something weird.
You looked fine to me.
You can still see me, right? Everything looks good on your end.
Yeah, everything was fine. I mean, you did something where you flipped out, but I mean, your logo popped up, but you were fine before that.
Yeah, my logo's up now. I don't know why that's up.
No, I see you just fine.
Okay, cool. All right, so what's actually funny is I actually wanted to be an actor because I love movies. Movies are one of my favorite things in the world. On top of video games and movies are my two favorite things. So actually, when I was and I say younger, but it's probably like 4 or 5 years ago, I wanted to become an actor. And I looked into acting classes and acting lessons. And acting's another thing where you just need a boatload of confidence. You need to keep yourself grinding and moving. And the reason why I didn't pursue it was because it was hard to find an acting school or an acting teacher that was actually genuinely not just trying to do it for money, that actually wanted to help you and wanted to see you succeed. There wasn't many of them out there. Most of them were just like, hey, come join our acting studio. We'll get you headshots. We'll get you tryouts. And then you pay them a certain amount of money and they get you headshots. And like all the reviews that I read on them were like, yeah, I paid them this amount of money. They got me headshots. And then I never heard back from them. And when I would reach out to them and say, oh, we don't have anything right now for your demographic. So I kind of pushed that to the side, which I do regret, but it actually led me towards Twitch because Twitch is like acting, except I get to be myself. I don't have to be a character. I can be silly old me and just be a doofus and have everyone laugh at me for who I am instead of being laugh at me for being a character. So I'm glad. I'm kind of glad I didn't pursue it. Kind of regret not pursuing it, but I'm glad it brought me towards Twitch and I was able to find an alternative to it.
Have you ever thought about voice acting?
It's weird that you said that because there's a guy who comes into my stream very often. He's from South Africa. His name's Sir Malloy. He's another streamer on Facebook. He's an amazing guy. And he actually worked he did, I don't remember what exactly he told me he did in the voice acting industry, but he was in the voice acting industry. And he actually said that same thing to me. He was like, have you ever done any voice acting or considered doing voice acting? I'm like, no, why? He goes, because you have a really good voice for voice acting. He goes, you could probably do some characters or some animated things. You'd be very good at it. I'm like, no, but if you know anybody that's interested, point them my direction because I would love to do that. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, that's definitely an avenue that I would love to do because I like cartoons as well, and I would love to voice a character. I think that'd be super cool.
Well, I don't know how much of my content you've watched, but I've made some brick films, and I've had to do the voice acting myself, and I actually briefly hired someone. She lives in California. I met her through Discord. Okay. And she's helped me out with 2 videos. Yeah, you were talking about like you wanted to be an actor, and I was thinking like I do brick films every now and then. I wonder.
You do not have to pay me. I will do them for free. I would love to. I would love to. I'm being serious. If you ever wanted me to, and you ever needed somebody, I would definitely do it for you.
That's awesome because I don't know how it is. I mean, I even told myself I probably shouldn't make a promo a year, but somehow I always end up making a promo a year for the channel. And I've had this thought brewing in my head. Like, I talk about using Legos in my reviews and stuff, and I do occasionally, but I've never put it in the promo. And I'm thinking about making a promo where it's, I don't know, I have the idea of either just going from me and then going into a Lego and then doing a little skit, or I don't know, or mixing it up. I'm still thinking about it.
That'd be really cool.
But I definitely, because I'm trying to build a community, I mean, I can do other voices, obviously, but I would like to have like literal other voices in there because then that would be a community.
I would definitely be down if you ever wanted me to.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome.
I'll let you know. Me on Discord, you can just send me a message.
Yeah, I'll let you know when it has something a little more concrete.
Yeah, of course.
Is there anything else you wanted to take this conversation, or we can leave it open for another one?
I'm definitely down for another one because I know you said you're looking for people to interview every time. I'm definitely down to come back again.
Oh, sweet. Because we're both nerds. I'm sure we can find a subject we can talk about forever.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Chris. Where can people find you?
All right, so you guys can find me Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/CM3TV. You can also find me on Twitter at TTVCM3TV. You can find me on Instagram, CM3TV, and TikTok, TTV, or CM3TV on TikTok as well. I have a lot of clips on TikTok and Instagram. Twitter is just a bunch of random thoughts from my head and also some clips and some motivational tweets every once in a while. They're more for me, but I like to put them out there for others in case they help. But me tweeting them helps me get into a motivational standpoint as well. But my community is always open to anybody who wants to reach out. I'm always open to anyone who wants to reach out. I may not get back to you right away, but I will get back to you at some point. As long as it's not anything crazy, I will be there to help. And again, I want to thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate that. You've been nothing but a great person in my community and a great help to my community and my stream. And I can't thank you enough for letting me do this.
Well, thank you. I don't feel I do that much, but
you interact with my post. You come into my chat. You do more than you know for me. That means more than a lot. That means a lot to me, to be honest. Seriously.
Well, I'm glad I can help in any way that I can.
Definitely, man.
So I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank everyone out there for listening and watching. You can catch us on all your podcasting platforms. You can catch it on, I posted to Facebook, even though Facebook is attached to my Podbean account, so you can catch the visual and the audio on Facebook. This is on YouTube and now on BitChute and Jamsin_3 on all the other platforms that you'll see pop up on the screen and post.
Perfect.
If you like what you saw, like it. If you think other people like it, share it. If you really liked it, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching and listening, and live your imagination.